You know, let's say you're in a dead end job. You're always worried about money. You're not achieving anything in life. You're depressed. You feel like you're blaming everybody else for all your problems in your life. Those types of issues are stopping you from getting to the point of starting. So recently, I went out for food with some friends, and we were sitting out at a restaurant, and it's in a rough neighborhood. And then while we were eating, the starters had just been delivered, and across the road we saw a guy collapse. And one of the guys at the table opposite me turned around and he said, "Geez, I know that lad. We went to school together." And that got me thinking about a man's search for meaning. Here we have two guys that went to the same school, grew up in the same town. One is a drug addict in the middle of the street, and the other one is a successful entrepreneur, has worked hard for what he has a purpose and has a goal. I think society lacks at the moment is we don't help people identify what they want out of their lives. We tend to give them loads of information and we just expect some people to figure it out. And without the right guidance, like a good parents or a close mentor or somebody to support you through those difficult times, we're going to end up with a world of more drug addicts. This brings me on to my question is, what is meaning? And how do we find our meaning and purpose in life? I mean, everybody has a very unique story on how they discovered their purpose and meaning. And everybody's is different. And it's very interesting to see that the more I look into it, is people seem to find their purpose and meaning at different phases in their life. In the search for meaning, it is often easy to lose sight of the most important things in life. We become consumed by the daily grind, the stress and anxieties of modern life, and the endless pursuit of material wealth. But what is the purpose of it all? Why do we wake up every morning and go through the motions of life? Is there something more? The truth is, we all seek meaning in one form or another, whether we realize it or not. Some may find meaning in religion, others in relationships, and still others in work or hobbies. But where does the pursuit of meaning truly begin? As Jordan Peterson so rightly points out, meaning starts with taking responsibility for our own lives. We must first acknowledge that we are the ones who create our own reality, and that we have the power to shape our experiences and find purpose in our existence. This means taking ownership of our thoughts and our actions and developing a clear sense of direction and purpose in life. However, the search for meaning is not simply an individual's pursuit. It is a collective journey, one that requires us to connect with others, work together, and make the world a better place. This means treating others with kindness, respect, and understanding, and working to build a society that is founded on fairness, justice, and equality. The search for meaning is a journey that we all have to take in our life, and is one that requires us to take responsibility for our own lives and connect with others. Only then can we truly find purpose, fulfillment in our existence. So let us start the journey today, and never stop seeking answers to the most important questions of life. I didn't have anybody to help ground me. I had literally nobody to turn to and nobody to talk to. And luckily for me, I turned to YouTube and I discovered Jordan Peterson and I discovered a few other minds that helped put me on the right track. And when I decided that I was going to take responsibility and ownership for all the bad things that were happening in the life of myself and my family, and I was going to take the ultimate responsibility on rectifying those problems and not blame other people for those problems, this is when my life truly changed around. I went from blaming the government or blaming the NHS or blaming my partner or blaming everybody else for all my failures to blaming only myself and accepting myself as the only reason I fail. But at the same time, I accepted myself and the people around me as the only reason why I succeed. Finding your meaning and finding your purpose, it's a team sport. You need to have people around you that understand where you're trying to get to and can help you and nurture you to get to where you want to get to. At the same time, if you only thinking of yourself, you will never find your true meaning or purpose, because ultimately our true meaning and purpose is in the service of others. And this is where all of this began. I started doing all of this because I need to share my story and I need to share my knowledge with other people. And hopefully I can connect with people that were lost or need help. And I can help them. I can't help them become millionaires because I don't have the stomach for it. I can't help them become rich and famous because I don't have the stomach for it. However, I can help them solve their problems. I can help make good solutions that we can work through and slowly achieve and get ourselves from the lowest run of the ladder to the middle way and help others. And in helping others, I think that's where we find and we improve ourselves. You look at all the great guys, they all found themselves and then they started helping others. And in the process of helping others, they found their fame, they found their fortune, and they found their true purpose. You know, you look at the likes of Jordan Peterson and Andrew Huberman and all these great guys that I've watched and studied on YouTube. They share their knowledge freely with anybody who is willing to listen, anybody who's willing to put the time in and listen to what they have to say. But the message that they give is enough to get you on the right track. There are mentors abound, offering guidance on how to reach the top 1% of life's grand prize. But while they extol the virtues of success and fame, a missing piece of the puzzle remains. For many just simply starting out, it's not success they need, but simply a push, a nudge, a deed to help them find their footing and start. A mentor who will ease their heart. In this world of endless advice, a mentor for the basics would suffice. So let us not forget our pursuit of greatness, the power of a mentor to help those in need of the start. For in the end, it's not only the 1% that counts, but the journey taken to get there, with help and support abound. This is the importance of mentorship. A mentor is not just somebody you can speak to. A mentor is anybody you choose to model and base yourself and set yourself to a standard to. So although Jordan Peterson has never met me, and Andrew Huberman has never met me, and Russell Brand has never met me, they have characteristics that I really admire and would like to have as part of my life. So in order to become more like Jordan Peterson, I have to become as knowledgeable as Jordan Peterson, because you can't just take knowledge. You know, he has a famous quote, and I think it was from Jung or somebody who says, you know, beware of knowledge that you haven't earned. And I know they were referring to psychedelics there, but it's true in all respects. You can watch the content of Jordan Peterson and Andrew Huberman and Russell Brand and all these other celebrity people that have a great even Andrew Tate. You can watch the content of these guys and you can take the key lessons, but unless you put them into practice, unless you make them part of your life, unless you increase your knowledge after that point, those steps of advice will never improve and never make a difference. And this is the importance of mentorship. Now, there is a whole array of online mentors out there to ask questions to and hopefully get answers to. The important thing, and this is the thing that I found as my consumption of books has gone higher, I'm now starting to realize that life and the world around us is not as difficult or as scary as we think. And the more time you dedicate to focusing just on your problems and the people around you, everything else clears, and you realize that some of the stuff that you usually stress about, or some of the things that cause you anxiety or upset or heartbreak or stress or any of the other negative emotions, aren't that important, and you're focusing on the wrong things. And once you identify the wrong things to focus on, and you then identify the right things to focus on, you can spend more time improving. And it's like an exponential equation. The more you do, the more you want to do, the more it becomes. And it just sort of like, it grows exponentially. As you increase your knowledge and as you increase your efforts, you get to a point where you're like, wow, I'm achieving everything I want in life. What do I want next? And then it switches over between a desire and a need. And once you get to that point, once you get your basics down and you're at the point where you're like, okay, my life is pretty good now. You know, I have a nice house, I have a good job, I have sellable skills, I have enough spare time that I can spend with my family. You know, I don't have to work 80 hours a week to make ends meet. I'm working 40 hours a week just like everybody else. Then you start thinking to yourself, well, what can I do next? What is the next thing that I want? And I have multiple areas of interest. I have areas that I think are very important and that I never missed my target on. And then there's areas that are like nice to haves, like my physical fitness. Achieving a six-pack is one of my things that I think about all the time. I'd love to have a proper six-pack. But when it comes to actually achieving that, it's not a need for me. I can see it's more of a desire because it's always at the bottom of the list. If I have to choose what I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on my core areas. A mentor helps you focus on the areas that you need to focus on. And if you haven't got the self-discipline to focus on those areas, a mentor is super important because they give you that sort of accountability, somebody you have to account to on your journey. And it's not like an accountable to a boss or to a parent. It's a voluntary account. It's like cold shower exposure. You voluntarily step in that cold shower and experience that pain and experience that misery, and you stick at it and you focus on it for the 2 minutes or however long you can cope with it for, and it's torture and it's horrible and you can't wait for it to finish. But as soon as you step out and it's done, you feel this massive feeling of accomplishment and almost calm as you're like, oh, I feel good now. I'm glad I did that. But for the whole time you were doing it, it was awful. And this is where a mentor is so useful, because a mentor forces you to do the things you don't want to do. That's not a member of your family, that's not a member of your close friendship group, that's just somebody that you can speak to and say, this is what I want to achieve, this is what I think I have to do, but I'm struggling to prioritize. Or, even worse, I have no idea what I want to do. I have no idea where I want to go, because all I've done all my life is just blame everybody else for having and me not. A mentor can be almost like a counselor in that respect, where they sort of put together a framework for you to work through your issues and identify key areas of improvement. And Jordan Peterson has another really good sketch where he talks about how once you go and do something like cleaning your bedroom, or some really obvious mundane task that you don't normally do, but you take ownership and you go, right, from now on I'm going to do this, and then you do that, and then the fog clears around a little bit area and you see, well, hang on a minute, for argument's sake, that picture is really dusty and dirty and hanging crooked and the frame's a bit broken. I'm going to take that down and fix it. And then you take that picture down and you fix it, and then you put that picture up and then you go, this is a really nice room. Maybe I'll sit here and I'll read a book. And then you read a book, and then that book opens your eyes up, and then you move. It's just a series of steps that open up and clear a path to new information. So ideally, what we need to do is we need to get more mentors from the start available to people. We don't need people to tell you how to get to that top 1%. We already have those great players out there. The Grant Cardones and the Gary V's and all these other amazing motivational businessmen, entrepreneurs. They've got that area wrapped up. But the thing is, we need to help the people that are trapped in their dead-end lives. This is where a mentor from the start will come into play.